All right, let's dive right in and ask a pretty big question. What is high school biology really teaching? I mean, is it just about memorizing a bunch of facts, or is there something bigger, something more important going on behind the scenes?
Okay, be honest. Do you remember sitting in class, maybe staring at a diagram of a cell, and just wondering, why on earth do I need to know the Krebs cycle? You are definitely not alone. For a long time, it really felt like biology was just this giant list of terms you had to cram into your brain. But is that still what it's all about?
Well, if you actually look in modern curriculum goals, and we're looking at one from Alberta, Canada here, you find a totally different mission. The goal? It's not just knowing stuff. It's about getting the skills you need to, get this, understand and interpret your world. Now, that is a huge shift in thinking.
So, let's get into it. What is this bigger, more ambitious goal? Because it's definitely not just about acing a vocabulary test.
Okay, the big idea, the central goal, is something called scientific literacy. And the key thing to get here is that it's all about building a new way of thinking, not just, downloading a bigger database of facts into your head.
So, scientific literacy, what does that actually mean? Well, the official vision puts it like this. It's the whole shebang. It's the knowledge, yeah, but also the skills and the attitudes you need to solve problems, make good decisions, and, I love this part, keep that sense of wonder about the world alive.
And this vision breaks down into some really concrete aims. Take a look at this list. Notice what's missing? There's nothing here that says memorize 1,000 vocabulary words. Instead, it's all about firing up your curiosity, using science to solve actual problems, thinking critically about tough ethical questions, and getting you ready for whatever comes next, whether you end up in a lab coat or not.
Okay, so that's the goal. Awesome. But how do you actually build a scientifically literate person? Well, the curriculum has a plan for that. A blueprint, really, built on 4 key foundations.
First up, attitudes. You got to think of this as the bedrock, right? It's all about fostering that scientific mindset. Being curious, always questioning things, feeling like you're a steward of the planet, and learning how to actually work together to solve stuff.
Next, Foundation 2, knowledge. Okay, so this is where your Krebs cycle and your mitochondria live. And let's be clear, the facts and concepts are still super important. You can't think critically about something if you don't know anything about it, right? This is the what part of the equation. Foundation 3 is where it gets really cool, I think. It's called STS, which stands for Science, Technology, and Society. This is all about connecting the dots between what's in the textbook and, the real world. It's constantly asking, so what? How does this science actually impact our lives, our technology, our society?
And last but not least, Foundation 4, skills. If knowledge is the what and STS is the so what, then skills are the how. This is about handing students the actual toolkit of a scientist, how to plan an experiment, how to gather and analyze data, and maybe most importantly, how to communicate what you've found.
So there you have it, attitudes, knowledge, STS, and skills, the 4 foundations. But how do they all come together in the real world, in an actual classroom? Well, the secret sauce is how the curriculum is designed. It's all about this really intentional pairing. For pretty much every chunk of knowledge a student learns, there's a matching STS outcome that forces them to connect that knowledge to the world around them.
Let me show you what I mean. A student might have a knowledge goal, like this one. Pretty standard stuff, right? Defining species, population, community, ecosystem. This is the what they need to know.
But then, bam! It's immediately paired with this STS outcome. Now they're asked to go research how Aboriginal peoples developed their own systems for classifying plants and animals. All of a sudden, that abstract idea of classification isn't just a science term anymore. It's grounded in culture and history.
And I really want to drive this point home. This isn't some optional if-we-have-time side project. It's a required part of the course. That connection between the scientific fact and its real-world relevance is literally baked into the DNA of the curriculum. Okay, that all sounds amazing in theory, right? But let's be real. We all know what it often comes down to: the final exam. So here's the ultimate test. Does the exam actually measure this new way of thinking, or does it all just fall back to good old-fashioned memorization?
Well, let's look at the evidence. This is straight from the official blueprint for the big provincial diploma exam. Take a look at this breakdown. Only about a quarter of the exam, just 27%, is based on simple remembering or understanding. Let me say that in another way. Over 70% of your grade on this exam comes from questions that force you to do more than just remember something. You have to apply your knowledge, you have to analyze, you have to really think. The exam is literally built to test how you think, not just what you've memorized.
So what does this look like in practice? Well, on the left, you've got your basic remembering question. It's asking about an action potential in a neuron. You either know the answer or you don't. Simple. But now look at the question on the right. This is a whole different beast. You have to read a whole scenario about dog breeding, figure out the mode of inheritance, and then calculate a specific outcome. It's a multi-step problem.
And that, right there, is the difference in a nutshell. One question asks, what is it? The other demands, how do you figure this out? And that second question, that is the real test of scientific literacy.
And at the end of the day, all of this curriculum design, all this theory, it's all in service of one thing, helping us understand the absolutely incredible, complex, beautiful world around us. I mean, right down to the cellular level. That's what it's all about, giving students the tools to truly see it and make sense of it all. So really, the goal isn't just to teach biology, it's to build citizens. Citizens who can think for themselves, who can tackle the complex scientific problems we're all facing. This is one way to do it. And that kind of leaves us with a final thought, right? How is your community preparing its students for the world of tomorrow?